Greetings all, I am Anime Otaku Drew. So, last time I covered just why the Kaminoans are so worried about keeping the Empire as their client. If you haven't watched that one yet, then go ahead and check it out here. I think it was a rather interesting video, and you'll learn something interesting about economics. But this time, I'm going to go ahead and take another look at the Bad Batch and give you my thoughts on something else. Now, you might remember this scene.
Can't sleep?
I keep thinking about the Kaminoans, seeing that place. I don't want to end up an experiment in a tube.
That's not gonna happen.
If I'm as valuable as you say, Lama Su will keep sending bounty hunters after me.
He can send everyone in the galaxy. You have us.
You can't fight them all.
Omega, you don't have to worry. You are never going back to Kamino.
Promise?
I promise.
Now, from that, two things seem extremely obvious. First, is that it will take something pretty extreme, heavy-duty shit, to make them return to Kamino, as Hunter and the rest of the batch will be doing everything they possibly can to prevent Omega from having to go back there. Second, is that they will definitely be going back. I don't think anybody questions that. The question is, after such a bold declaration that Omega will never have to return to Kamino, what in the galaxy could cause her to go back there? Now, a lot of people are guessing that Omega will end up captured again. Maybe by Cad Bane, who will clearly be pissed off about losing his bounty last time, and will thus be very likely to come after her again. Maybe by a different bounty hunter. And when that happens, she'll be taken there, and the batch will return to Kamino to get her back. I admit it's possible, but there's a few problems with this. First is that after so heartfelt and sincere of a statement from Hunter, it just feels thematically strange for the batch to allow her to be in a situation where she could easily be taken. And I definitely can't see the batch getting wiped out in the series named for them by whatever bounty hunter is trying to run off with her. The next problem is that, as we saw on Bounty Lost, Lama Su has no interest in having her brought back to Kamino. Remember, Lama Su actually sent Ton Wei to meet Cad Bane, not to return with her to Kamino, but to collect her genetic material and then dispose of her. If Cad Bane or some other bounty hunter does capture Omega again, Lama Su will undoubtedly send some other representative to meet them rather than having that bounty hunter come to Kamino, because, I mean, you don't invite a ruthless bounty hunter into your house, especially when your house is full of Imperials. And that representative would, without a doubt, be given the same instructions that Ton Wei had. Retrieve her genetic material and dispose of her. And then there's the fact that it would just be repetitive. We already had that happen this season. Not with her getting taken to Kamino, but we already had the formula of bounty hunter takes Omega, the Batch has to go find her and get her back. We already had that formula happen this season. So for it to happen again, Filoni is a much better storyteller than that, and we need to give him some credit. So, for those reasons, it just doesn't really seem to make sense for Omega to be captured and taken to Kamino. So, if Omega isn't going to be grabbed and forced to go back, what the hell could make the Batch take her back after promising she never had to go back? Well, I'll tell you exactly why they go back. It's because Omega insists on it. I hear you already. You don't even bother to type the comment. I hear you already. Come on now. Why would Omega want to go back to Kamino? She's scared of ending up in one of those tubes. Yeah, she is. But there is a very real reason that will be even more important to her than that fear. So much so that she will not only want to go back, but she is going to insist on it against the objections of Hunter and the rest of the Batch. I'm not only going to tell you what that reason is, but I'll tell you how it's going to happen in general terms. I obviously don't know specifics yet. As much as I would love to be writing for this, I'm not. But, Mr. Filoni, if you are watching, please know that I am absolutely open to write for you. I have been a Star Wars fan literally even longer than I can remember. I have insane passion for the series, and I know the lore very, very deeply. And I'm a writer, so yeah, hit me up if you would be interested, Mr. Filoni. Thank you. So, yeah, it'll start with a bounty hunter coming after Omega, most likely Cad Bane again. As I said before, he is undoubtedly going to have a grudge. He pissed. Now note, I said coming after her, not taking her. I already established that would be redundant this season because we've already had that play out. So Bane is going to come after her, and Hunter is going to end up having a rematch with him. Probably one or two of the Batch supporting him while he sends Omega on to safety. But this time, Cad Bane is not working alone. As we've seen him do in the past, Cad Bane will have gathered a team to help him settle his grudge. And the Batch will end up busy confronting the members of that team, thus leaving Omega to escape alone and protect herself. At which point, Omega is going to find herself face to face with one or more members of Bane's team who are not busy tangling with the Batch. And Omega is not going to have any of the members of the Batch to help her. And at the last minute, we'll see Fennec Shand save her. When the Batch finish with their respective opponents from Bane's team and catch up, they're initially going to try and fight Shand, seeing her as a threat to Omega as well. But Omega is going to put the kibosh on that really fast. She's going to stop them and let them know that Fennec is the one who saved her. Hunter, of course, is still going to be mistrustful. And he's going to demand to know what she's playing at. It's going to be at that point that Shand will reveal to Omega and the Batch that she was hired by Nala Se in order to keep Omega safe. Not to take her back to Kamino, not to take her for some nefarious purpose, but actually to protect her. And it's entirely possible, likely even, that, I mean, the last we saw Nalase told Shand that she didn't necessarily need to go on after Omega again at that time. But I suspect that Nalase will indeed get back in touch with Fennec and tell her that things are dire, that maybe even she, Nalase herself, is in danger because Lama Su is suspecting her working against them. And this might be revealed to Omega as well. And upon hearing that Nalase may be in danger, Omega is going to insist on going to save her, to extract her from Kamino before Lama Su can do anything to her. Of course, Hunter in particular, and probably the rest of the batch, are going to say this is a fucking insane idea. They're going to object because of the innate danger that it could put Omega in. But ultimately, the batch will be convinced, and Hunter in particular will be convinced, because traveling to Kamino would not only allow them to save Nalase, who actually is directly responsible for sending the person who has saved Omega now, but she's also the one who allowed the batch to escape Kamino in the first place, which they don't know right now, but I do suspect that they'll find out before all is said and done. But in addition to that, it also gives them the chance to directly confront the problem of the Kaminoans trying to capture Omega, and potentially end that possibility. If they go to Kamino, then maybe they could do something there that would make it so the Kaminoans won't be sending anyone else for Omega, so they don't have to fuck with any more bounty hunters. And I don't know about you, but I don't want bounty hunters coming after me or anyone I care about. I definitely don't want to have to worry about that looming threat. So if there is a way that I can go and deal with it proactively, I'm sure the hell going to take that way. Then on top of that, they could maybe, just maybe, get the opportunity to get back Crosshair and remove his chip. So upon considering all of those factors, Hunter will grudgingly capitulate. So, now that we have a solid idea of what will lead them to return to Kamino, what's going to happen when they actually get there? Well, I think they'll actually manage to get in mostly without incident and successfully find Nalase. After that, their next objective will be to negate the threat of Lama Su sending bounty hunters for Omega. Now, I don't know how they'll go about that. Maybe Nalase will offer some suggestion for what they can do. I don't know. But I suspect that it will be at this stage where things go wrong. I think at this point, the batch is going to find themselves face to face with Crosshair. He will probably try to deal with them personally at first, partly because of chip programming, partly because he's pissed, but ultimately either he will alert the entire Imperial complement on Kamino to the presence of the batch, or some other Imperial will see them fighting and spread the alert. But while the batch are confronting Crosshair, I think Hunter is going to say they should split up. Now, Hunter and Wrecker are the strongest fighters of the batch. I don't think anybody denies that. So, the way I think they'll do it, I think Hunter will say that he and Wrecker need to fight Crosshair they need to deal with this while Tech and Echo take Omega and Nala Se to go through with whatever plan they came up with to make sure no more bounty hunters are sent for Omega. Now, ultimately, I think they will subdue Crosshair and take him with them to catch up with the other. That way, Nala Se can remove his chip. But things are going to keep falling apart after that. Maybe Crosshair wakes up after Nala Se pulls his chip, and he's still pissed, still holds a grudge, still wants to serve the Empire even without the orders in his head still prompting him. Maybe the Empire is choosing this time to implement the obliteration of the Kaminoans that I talked about last video. Maybe the Empire actually does get alerted to the batch's presence, like I was saying earlier, and has every trooper and officer on Kamino on high alert searching for them, but shit's gonna go wrong. There is a 50-50 chance that the batch will actually do something that ends the ongoing threat of Omega being hunted for the Kaminoans. Really, I think that it's likely they won't have to worry about any more bounty hunters sent by the Kaminoans after this season, either because the Kaminoans are eliminated, or they reach some understanding with Lama Su, or something. Most likely because the Kaminoans are eliminated. But this feels like a self-contained season arc, with the Kaminoans trying to get her back. The thing is, there's also a separate 50-50 chance that the Empire might learn something about her that causes them to start coming after her. The one thing I'm pretty sure about is that Nala Se is going to end up getting killed. Very likely by sacrificing herself in a way that lets the Batch and Omega escape. Possibly with Crosshair, possibly without. I don't know at this point. But I don't think Nala Se is going to survive Season 1, which will certainly leave Omega distraught. So, there you have it. Those are my theories of why the Batch is going to return to Kamino and what will happen when they get there. If you found my ideas interesting, then I hope you'll drop a like and share your thoughts on my theories and any theories of your own. My next video is going to be a response to Rob from Rule of Two Review about his video with covering Metroid Dread and his thoughts on the last Metroid. If you're interested in that, or any future content I have, which there will be a lot of Star Wars and plenty of other stuff, then go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button, and make sure to ring my bell while you're down there, so you get notified when I upload new content. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I hope you'll join me again for the next video. Catch you all later.